We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Turrbal people of Yuggera land, as well as the Woiwurrung people of the Wurundjeri land. We recognise their continued connection to the land and waters of this beautiful place and acknowledge that they never ceded sovereignty. We respect all Turrbal and Woiwurrung elders and ancestors, and any First Nations people here today.
I can't take it anymore!
Good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good morning, Blurtstars, wherever you are around the world. You are listening to the new Blurt.
You absolutely are listening to the new Blurt. Good evening or morning, afternoon, wherever you are listening or viewing. Tonight, I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri. I'll get this right. Wurundjeri country, the Kulin nation of the Wurundjeri people. Sovereignty was never ceded, always has been and always will be Aboriginal land. Thanks for being with us tonight on the new Blurt. We are going to talk a little bit about the Oscars and some shenanigans that happened at the Oscars. We got a little bit about Blurt around the world. Why are homes getting so big in Australia? And it looks like New South Wales is basically slowing down Australia's race to get to 2030 emissions targets because they're lagging in their renewable targets. So Tusk, New South Wales. And yeah, exactly right, Wencee. And also tonight we've got On This Day an Indelible Indigenous. We'll be talking about closing the gap. Wencee will. I'll be talking about the Gomeroi people having a win in the court regarding title holdings. And then we'll have Joke of the Week. Should be a bit of fun. So hang in there with us. And a good evening.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Hope everyone's had a great week. Before I get started, I just want to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Yuggera and Turrbal people of the Meanjin Nation, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. How's it going there, mate?
All right, my friend. All right. What do you know? Anything much?
No, not really. Oh, sorry. One of my monitors just went black and just popped back into life again. Don't know what happened there.
Oh, that's always
nice. Not going to touch anything now. What do I know?
Just working hands-free.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's all wireless now. It's like telepathy.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Nice.
Yes. Yeah. What do I know? Not much these days. No. No, I've been busy at work as usual. Had a busy weekend. I was at a dog lovers festival the whole weekend, doing a stall with my oldest, Elijah, where they were selling a lot of their crafty stuff that they make, all dog related. So yeah, so that kept me busy this week.
How many dogs were there? I saw that. I mean, is that like a dog parade, or is that a dog show, or what's the actual situation? Because when I grew up, my mum was a dog breeder, so not by herself, obviously. She needed the dogs to do the work. But but the thing is that I grew up with heaps and heaps of dogs and quite a few different breeds, etc. And so I've been to heaps of dog shows, but when I saw, and also seen agility shows as well, where dogs are doing weird and wonderful things over particular obstacles, etc. But the footage that you showed me was different to what I've seen before. So what is this sort of show all about?
So it's a festival mainly showcasing dogs, and there was a lot of stalls on different breeds like Irish Wolfhounds, Dachshunds, Japanese Spitz, and dozens of others.
Is the Japanese Spitz, is that like that little dog that's got like a pointy face?
No, it's sort of a pointy snout, but it's big, white, fluffy. It's probably a small, medium-sized dog.
Oh, right, okay. It's not what I'm thinking of, I don't think.
No, it must be totally different. But yeah, predominantly it was breeders. They're showcasing their breeds and their clubs. There were a few stall holders selling products like Elijah and a few others, but not many. And the other category that were there were rescue centres. So there was a dachshund rescue. There was greyhound rescues. I think there were 2 of those in the whole centre. So it was in the big Brisbane entertainment and convention centre, and yeah, it was quite good. Got to see. They also had some shows with dogs. Some that diving dogs, where dogs would jump off a platform and then dive into the pool. There were on the other side of the hall. There were dogs racing.
Was these just for fun, or was this an actual competition, or
It's entertainment.
just for fun? Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
as long as you're enjoying yourself, that's good.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. I didn't get to see it because I was behind the stall and selling
Working.
stuff, but working.
Yeah. So it seemed, from what I could see, it just looked like a fantastic community sort of type event. But,
Yeah, it was nice.
I know what those events are like when you just have to be there for a really long time because you've got a child that can't drive. And
Yeah.
and
Yep.
how is that situation? Is it getting the
Next question. Still struggling to get them to sit the test or complete the booklet or read the booklet to then be able to sit the online test. So markets
and you're
are
only
done
talking
for
about the
the
learners test.
yeah, exactly. It's just the learners, just to be able to try to sit behind a wheel.
Yeah.
So there's no more markets in the foreseeable future. So they won't get distracted by that. So they've got universities. So this is their second week. So hopefully we can get them learning how to drive. Although they are telling us as we're driving, they're going, "Oh, you can't do that," and "Oh, Mum, Dad, you shouldn't be doing that either. Like eating while you're driving, you're not allowed to do that."
Well, everything she's saying is correct.
Correct.
They're saying is correct. So yes, so that is true. That is very true.
Yes.
Hence why I drive by myself most of the time. But that way you can just do what you like, basically. But
yeah, exactly.
But what I was going to say is I saw some of the dogs at that show, and I would imagine that some of those dogs would have to live in a pretty big house.
Yeah, or farms or something. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So a family of 4 lives in a home that 90 years ago housed a family of 11.
Wow.
So
it's a big difference now, isn't it?
That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing. We apparently we have some of the biggest homes in the world. Not my house, but as an average, is some of the biggest homes in the world. So. So we're looking at, it opens with a backlit wine cellar, then the camera pans back past the double garage, 5th bedroom, past the home theatre, powder room, blah, 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 blah. And at more than 400 square meters, this is the house. I'm not talking about the block.
That's just the house. Jeez.
Yeah. The artisan substantially larger than the average new Australian home, but is emblematic of how over the past few years and decades, Australia has become home to some of the largest averages of the biggest homes. So in the 1880s, a row house measuring perhaps 110 to 120 square meters, a size more typical of new houses in Europe or Japan. And by 2024, Australian standards, the house is claustrophobic.
Amazing. It's a huge difference, isn't it? We
Absolutely.
just have too much space.
Oh, it's massive. Our reference points of small and big of enough is not enough have shifted dramatically over the last century. In 1960, our average new homes measured about 100 square meters. By 1984, it reached to 162 square meters. Oof. Now, how much do you think it is now as an average?
40 square, whatever that works out to in square meters.
Considering that families are actually getting smaller. On average, they're actually getting smaller.
I'd say 280 square meters.
No, but you're in there, and if it's 280 square meters, that is just criminal. 230.
Oh wow!
which is just that's a lot of space. 230 square meters is a lot of
Yeah.
space. In
I
the
think the house
19th,
we're in now is probably about that, but it's an old 60s house, I reckon.
yeah, but yours is
Yeah.
5 or 6 bedrooms, isn't it?
Technically it's 3. We've made it into 4, and
Right.
there's room. Like the downstairs, you could almost, if you invested a little bit of money, you could almost make it into a fully self-contained living quarters, just out of
Yeah,
kitchenette.
it's a pretty
It's
big
that big. Yeah.
space. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's something they're looking at doing. But it's interesting because along the short and wide, handsome 8 p.m. way, bisected by grass tennis court, are stately Federation homes set back from the footpath by lush front gardens. They are stationed apart from one another. So basically what we're doing, there's a picture here going back to the 1970s. So I'll show you the picture. So that's a picture
Nice
there.
and leafy.
Yes, nice and leafy. That's 1970s. And I wonder if they've got a picture of what that is now. But
it would be good if they did compare it.
just trying to have a look. Yeah, no, but absolutely it would. But I'm not going to read the whole article because we've got so much to get through here. But the monetization of homes. Our homes have always been a display of our individual wealth, but over the past 3 decades, Australia's homes have gone from being a display of wealth to a vehicle for creating it. We already know that negative gearing is one of the worst taxes in Australia. Well, sorry, worse tax incentives in Australia, in that they stopped the government from getting billions in revenue, and those billions could be used on new modern affordable housing, etc., etc.
Yeah, exactly. The big debate that's been
So
going on
that what
for the last year or so here in Australia with that.
absolutely. So what I've got here, I've just got a little picture. This is a good one, actually. The link will be in the show notes as always. So if you you can't get onto the video, that's not a problem. Just have a look at the link. What we've got on the screen at the moment is the average size of new houses in Australia over time. So we're showing from 1960, it's 100 meters squared. 2002 to 2003, it's gone up to 230 meters squared, just under. And then, that's interesting. So in 2008, 2009, it was 246.
Yeah, that's when it
But
peaked.
yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And then
Yeah.
21 to 22, it's gone back down to 232. So that's interesting. I don't know why that is the case. That's interesting. But
My
if you
guess is
want
that
to have, so go for it.
my guess is that because space is a premium and there's few development lots being released by developers and governments, they've had to make land smaller and hence the houses smaller over the last 20 years. And so I think that's why you're seeing the decrease. And more people are probably living in apartments and units now.
I think you're 100% right. I think you have hit the nail right on the head. Not going to go any further with that particular article, but the link is in the show notes. It's worth having a read. It's a
Looking
good
forward to reading
article,
that one.
and yeah, it's interesting to have a look at that one. And now, just the next one is, well, we're not talking about houses, but it's something to do with houses in that we're talking about renewable energy, and so therefore we're talking about solar on houses, etc., etc. Well, apparently, the New South Wales state is halfway away from the goal to what it should be at the moment, adding to the challenges of the federal government's 82% renewable energy target for the grid by the end of the decade, i.e. 2030. And New South Wales is lagging far behind. And actually, talking about that, I was reading an article today, and they were ranking the states in economy, and they were ranking the states in taxes, and they're ranking the states in unemployment, I think.
Right.
And Victoria came pretty much last in the economy and first in taxes, i.e. higher taxes, and first in unemployment.
Right. It's a
What
bit of a
state
mixed
do you
bag
think?
there.
Yeah, what state
Yeah.
do you think came up front for the best economy?
I'm pretty confident that would be WA because of the mining.
Correct. 100% correct. 100% correct. So what really made me angry about this article is it's done by the Institute of Public Affairs.
Let me guess, are they right-leaning?
They're very much right-leaning at the
Yeah.
IPA. And I wasn't surprised at all to see that they put Victoria down the bottom on economy and all the rest of it. And the thing they never did, they did not detail how the actual economic numbers were made up, i.e. where the revenue was coming from, etc., etc. So they didn't say, oh, okay, well, we've got heaps of Woodside Petroleum in Western Australia. We've got heaps of mining over there, so with Rio Tinto mining over there, blah, blah, blah. There's none of that. So basically, because they're all in favour of fossil fuels. IPA,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's very much in favour of it. And so, and I'm like, well, obviously that would make sense to me that their economy was going through the roof still because they're not transitioning fast enough.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're actually, I mean, they're not as obviously far behind as New South Wales is. But again, I mean, New South Wales has a Labor government now, and so they should be onto this. So
yeah.
Got a recent report says New South Wales will need to approve nearly 7.5 gigawatts more wind and solar to meet the targeted emissions reduction goals by 2030. And it says that New South Wales legislated electricity infrastructure roadmap indicates the state would need to generate 33,600 gigawatt hours of renewable energy from projects in place by the end of 2029. So on this score, New South Wales is less than halfway to its goal, with a forecast out from projects already committed or contracted about 12,911 gigawatts as of the end of 2023. So they're really a long way behind. Again, that's a good article, and I think there's a potty on it too, maybe, not 100% sure. But again, links will be in the show notes.
I'm surprised that Queensland didn't make the list of that where we stand in terms of the emission targets, because we're still a very heavy mining state, similar to WA, but there is some movement into renewables like wind farms and solar in parts of rural Queensland, especially up north. So yeah, I'm glad we're not down the bottom, but like New South Wales, I think there's room for improvement.
Yeah, no. In the IPA report, I think Queensland was probably higher. I think probably in the top 3 of states, I imagine. So I'm definitely not surprised that they made the Australia's most progressive state the last state. That makes total sense to me. So, but enough of that. Let's do some Oscar stuff. So I thought
Oscars.
Lots
Oscar happened
time.
in the Oscars, didn't
so
it?
I thought what we might do, it did. A lot did happen, and this happened.
Ooh.
Tonight is the 50th anniversary of what used to be the craziest moment in Oscar history. At the 46th Academy Awards in 1974, David Niven was in the middle of introducing Elizabeth Taylor when a nude man, a streaker, ran across the stage. Which, can you imagine if a nude
classy individual
across the
David
stage
Niven,
today?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if a nude man stage today? Wouldn't that be crazy?
Links will be in the show notes.
Yeah.
What? Do the thing. Excuse me for a second. What's going on? You're supposed to run across the stage.
I changed my mind. I don't want to do the streaker bit anymore.
What do you mean you don't want to do the streaker bit anymore? We're doing it.
I just don't feel right about it. It's an elegant event. You know, honestly, you should feel shame right now for suggesting such a tasteless idea.
It's supposed to be funny.
The male body is not a joke.
Mine is.
No, it's not.
Wrestle naked. Why not?
Dude, I don't wrestle naked. I wrestle in jorts.
Jorts are worse than naked. Really not going to do this? Fine. Just give out the award then. God. Worse.
For anyone listening and not watching at any time, John Cena, who is a huge wrestler, has just come on the stage completely naked with a card in front of his John Thomas. He's ginormous. He's just ginormous. That's
and the card he's holding is the actual winner's card that says costume design, which is part of the joke.
Yes. Yeah, exactly right.
Or did I just spoil it?
Costumes. They are so important. Maybe the most important thing there is. I can't open the envelope without
The nominees for Best Costume Design are
Barbie, costume designed by Jacqueline Durr. Killers of the Flower Moon, costume designed by Jacqueline West. Napoleon, costume designed by Janty Yates and Dave Crossman. Oppenheimer, costume designed by Ellen Morales.
I picked this one.
Poor Things, costume designed by Holly White.
I want to see this guy. John Cena now has a toga for those listening.
Poor Things.
So there you go.
It's definitely a visual joke, but it is very funny.
It is a visual joke. It is, and as we always say, links will be in the show notes. And hence my or woohoo. Just depends on how you feel about nakedness. So
yeah, it doesn't bother me.
That's what
we're all born naked.
No, it doesn't bother me at all. Oh yeah, I mean, I would have done that for sure. I would have done the John Cena joke, but they would have much preferred to see John Cena.
Well, we saw you in your Budgie Smugglers a few years ago in your play in Mooney Ponds.
Yes, it didn't leave a lot to the imagination, I can tell you that. And,
you did not have a costume design card covering your nether region, so
I did not. I could have probably done with one, I think. But talking Oscars, anyway, I believe you have a list of some winners. Who we got?
I do. The usual suspects. Not the movie from years ago. The ones that we.
I love that movie. Oh my
yes,
God.
although with the actor now, with those charges that have been.
I thought they were dropped.
Oh, were they?
Spacey. I thought.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey. Yeah. I don't know. We digress, but there was someone I met 20 odd years ago, an English girl who actually worked close with him in England, and she confirmed everything that we've all heard.
Really?
The rumors, yeah. So she's even 25 years ago when that was sort of hidden but very well known. Yeah, she told me that. Yeah. And I went, oh, okay, not good at all. Correct, but we digress as we sometimes do. But
we do.
Best Picture actor and actresses were sort of known. So Best Picture went to Oppenheimer, even though it wasn't the biggest financially for the year, which obviously went to Barbie because that made well over $1 billion around the world. And the Best Actor went to Cillian Murphy, who played Oppenheimer in the movie. Best Actress went to Emma Stone for Poor Things.
She probably deserved that. I
Yeah.
saw a bit of Poor Things, and I don't want to see the movie. It's not my type of movie. I love Emma Stone, but it's not my it's not my gig of a movie. But
That's her second
she
Oscar,
looked
I think.
amazing in it. Really? But she
Yeah,
didn't
I
get
think,
one for La La Land, did she?
I'm not sure,
No, she
but
wouldn't. She wouldn't have got one.
I'm sure I read today that she had won two, she's won 2 in 7 years.
She's a
Yeah.
cracker of an actor, no doubt
Oh,
about
she
it.
is.
She's fantastic.
Best
What
Supporting
else you got?
Actor,
yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. for his role in Oppenheimer. I can't remember his.
Oh, yeah, he was excellent. He was
who he
really
played.
good. He was the doctor or the
Okay, that's
professor
right.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
something like that.
And
Yeah.
yeah, he was. It was pretty bad actually. He went right against Oppenheimer in the end. Tried to sort of bring him down. Yeah, it's a great film. I'd watch it again. Actually, it's awesome.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah. Best Supporting Actress, I thought was actually going to go to America Ferrera for
She was good.
Barbie.
Barbie, yeah.
Because didn't she win a Golden Globe for that
Yeah,
role?
she might have. She might have.
Yeah. But Best Supporting Actress went to Davine Joy Randolph. Which
That is The Holdovers.
The Holdovers, correct.
And I really want to see that. I absolutely want to see it. It looks amazing. It's got Paul Giamatti in it.
Right. Yes, he was up for Best Actor award as well. Paul Giamatti.
He would have been. It looked awesome. He plays a professor, and what happens is at like a private school or something, and this kid gets left there. He doesn't have any parents or whatever, and that's why it's called The Holdovers. Right. And then it's what happens after that. And is it Davine Joy? Is that her name?
Yeah, Davine Joy Randolph.
Yeah,
or Divine.
I think she's a teacher or professor or something there as well, or something.
Okay.
I can't quite remember.
Yeah,
but it looks amazing.
Yeah.
As soon as I see it, I'll definitely do a what's on the box on it. But I've been trying to see it, but we're into the French Film Festival at the moment. So
I love the French Film Festival.
Yeah, it's got some good stuff in it. They've just made a new Three Musketeers.
Oh, okay.
And you can
don't tell me Gerard Depardieu again.
No, definitely not.
Oh, thank God, because I'm sure he's done one or two of those classics.
Well, if he was in this one, he would be being a great granddad.
Yeah.
He's no. They've got an extremely cute D'Artagnan or whatever. And what they've done is they've got two movies. One's called Milady or however you pronounce it in French. And the other one is D'Artagnan. So there is, and you can watch them as a double.
Yeah, okay, nice.
And it's pretty cool. This is the French version, and it's sort of truer to the book, the Alexander Dumas book.
Nice.
So yeah, so
is that at the Palace Cinemas?
Yes, it is at the Palace. Yes, it is.
Right.
Yes.
I might have to keep an eye on it here because we normally get it either before or after the other states. So they usually do one state and then another one, and then another one. They just rotate. So all right, I'll keep an eye on that one. Continuing on with the list.
Yes.
Best Director went to Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. Best Adapted Screenplay, American Fiction. Never heard of that one.
No, I don't know that one either.
Best Original Screenplay was Anatomy of a Fall, which I think you've seen.
No, I haven't seen, but we spoke about it on the show because I did a bit of homework to find out what it was about. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Best Animated Feature, How Do You Live? Never heard of that one.
No.
I thought it was going to go to The Boy and the Heron.
Yes, I know you were hoping it would. I know because you're a what is that stable it comes out of? A Ghibli
Studio
or
Ghibli.
Ghibli or something?
Studio Ghibli.
Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Yep. You've got any obscure ones down there? Because
Obscure
time's
ones?
marching on, and we need to just crack them. So.
Yep, the best live action short film went to The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which is actually on Netflix.
Yes, it's a cracker.
We saw that last year, and it's only, I think, 20 or 30 minutes long.
40 minutes, maybe?
It was 40. Yeah, I can't remember the exact time, but quite quirky and weird. And what's his name? It's not Christopher.
Roald Dahl?
No, Cumberbatch.
No. It's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict.
But everyone's in it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ray Fiennes is in it. He plays weird characters, and David Ayode's in it from the IT Crowd.
Yep.
It's just
Richard Ayoade.
Richard Ayoade.
Yep.
And there's so many people in it. And Roald Dahl. I'm not sure if you know, but Roald Dahl not Roald Dahl, but they have remade about 4 or 5 of Roald Dahl's films. So that Henry Sugar one is only one of about 4 or 5 that you can watch on Netflix.
Yeah, nice. Might have to put a list on the show notes for next week to see which ones they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But absolutely. Do yourself a favor, go watch that movie on Netflix if you've got it. It's great.
Yeah, it is great. It's quite weird and definitely wonderful. Benedict's good in everything. So, and Roald Dahl's just a nutbag. So
exactly.
All right. Well, that is pretty cool. And I think
before we end this one,
go for it. Yep.
I've got a bit of show and tell regarding the Oscars. Of course, it's Barbie. Big movie of the year. This is Ryan Gosling doing the I'm Ken. I'm not going to play it all because it goes for about 4 minutes, but we'll just do a couple of quick scenes and hopefully it comes up. Should be playing. Here we go. This is the beginning. So Ryan Gosling, for those listening, is in the audience, sitting behind Margot, aka Barbie.
Feelings I can't explain, driving me insane. All my life been.
Let's fast forward a little bit because it is quite long, and you have to see the video to enjoy it. And we'll put the link to this YouTube video in the show notes. Got all the Kens from the movie. It's quite visually impressive. This show, this skit, and you got Slash on the guitar. Bit of Slash, yeah. He makes an appearance. Doesn't say anything, as you know, because you went to the concert a couple weeks ago.
I don't expect him to say a word.
Keep fast forwarding. Ken goes into the audience, takes the cameraman with him up the stairs. It is quite visually impressive, this one. So yeah, like I said, link will be in the show notes, and yeah, enjoy it.
Brilliant.
Have we lost Keely? Kegsta? Oh, I'm not sure if you're playing something.
Hang on.
All right, do you want to play that again?
No, I'm good.
Oh, you're good? Okay.
I will be.
Just edit this part out.
The Australian Institute produces high-quality research that has real-world impact, whether it's revealing the $10.3 billion in fossil fuel subsidies provided by federal and state governments last year, or our long-standing research advocating for a federal anti-corruption commission with real teeth. We change minds. To donate, head on over to australiainstitute.org.au.
Hey, this is Hannah Melville Ray from the Australia Institute. I'm listening to the new Blurt with Wencee and the Kegsta, and you should be too. It's on Tuesday nights, live around 8 p.m.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Indelible
Go for it, my friend.
Indigenous. Yes. Indelible
Yes, we haven't
Indigenous.
done it for a
I'm
while,
gonna
so
be.
it's nice to have it back.
Yes, exactly. Mine's a little bit positive, but not all positive. I'm just
Oh,
going to
well,
talk about.
that's life. That's
It is, isn't
Sanyo.
it? It is. Oh God, there's a brand I haven't heard in a long time. Sanyo. Oof.
I know you have to be our age to understand that joke.
Yeah, exactly. For all you millennials and younger, Google it, and yeah, it's an old electronics company. I don't know if
That's
they're
life. That's
still around.
Sanyo. Google that, and you should be right.
Yeah.
No, I think no. I don't. Well, I don't know.
Longer?
It's
I
a
don't
good.
know.
I'd be surprised if it was.
Japanese company,
but-
from memory.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've got no idea.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Don't know.
crack on.
Anywho's, I'm going to talk about closing the gap. It was in the news a few days ago since our last show, and there was they're talking about the
Two
closing
seconds.
the gap.
You're not talking about Spud's mouth. No.
No. I wish
No,
we could permanently
right.
close that gap.
That gap, yes, that would be good.
As well as
That would be good.
Orange Head. If we can close those two
Yes.
mouths, the
Yes,
world will
those
be
gaps
much
would be
better.
good. Yes, absolutely. That would be.
But yeah, they're exactly. Yeah, so closing the gap is, I guess, an incentive framework of measures to improve the lives of First Nations people in Australia. And the report has indicated that there are 5 targets that are on track out of 19 that is part of the measurement that's been going on for many years, if not decades. The 5 that are currently on track to meet their objectives are reducing child mortality rates, so that's a good positive. There are less children dying at young age, so they're living longer. Increasing the proportion of Indigenous Australians completing Year 12 or equivalent education.
Well, that's very important. So it's good that that's increasing. Absolutely.
Oh, exactly. And like any society, the more educated we are, the further advanced we can progress and have better equality because we're all got the knowledge and can.
Well, otherwise you end up like America with 30 million nutbags.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
just following blindly some nut job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
because
not looking into facts.
No, they don't look outside the square, and they only follow one news group, and they think that's sacrosanct. But anywho,
yeah, exactly.
What I was going to say something on top of that. I was going to say something on top of that
about education.
Definitely. In Tasmania, I found out the other day that only 53% of Tasmanian students reach Year 12.
53.
53. The average in Australia is 76.
Wow, that is pretty poor for Tasmania.
Yeah, that's pretty
I wonder
bad.
why that is. Is it because bad education?
I don't know. I mean, all I know
lack
is
of
they've got a Liberal
resources?
government. I don't know that. I mean, I can't. I can't.
Surely that's not from
aspersions on
one electoral cycle. That'll
Well, no, they've been
53%
Liberal.
something that.
They've been Liberal for a while.
Oh, have they? Yeah. Well, there you go.
But I don't know. I mean, you for a state that is steeped in history and culture and amazing biodiversity areas like the Huon Valley and the Tamar Valley and all these sort of things. It's amazing how much logging still goes on, and sort of things that are detrimental to the wonderful ecosystem they have down there.
Yeah.
So it's So I don't know.
Pretty sad.
I don't know. But they've got some really, really smart people. As we know, they've got the Antarctic research centre down there. So there's a lot of smart people down in Hobart. There's a lot of smart people in Launceston and whatever. But I honestly don't know. Maybe
some homework there for us.
Yeah, it could be. It could be some homework. It could be some homework. But anyway, I digress as usual. Go for it.
That's okay. That's all part of the show. That's why we blurt.
That is exactly right.
Another target that is on track is closing the gap in early childhood education access. So
nice.
High school is one thing, but getting them through the childcare system early on sets up the foundations, I guess, to go into primary school and then high school, which is great. Increasing Indigenous Australians' employment outcomes. Again, I think that's probably related to the education. So the more educated you are, the more likely you'll get employed in whatever field you're interested in. The fifth target that is on track is improving Indigenous Australians' access to disability services. So I'm guessing that would be a direct result of NDIS and other funding changes that have happened over the last, 10 or 15 years. So that is all good. The positives highlighted in the by the report. The report acknowledges improvements in areas such as child mortality rates, like I said, and employment outcomes amongst Indigenous Australians, including the efforts to address disparities that are having a positive impact. What else have we got? The report emphasises the need for ongoing collaboration between governments, Indigenous communities and service providers. There's very much big complex systems here where you've got government services, Indigenous groups and the government all trying to work together. So I think that synergy is hopefully getting better and getting better results as we're seeing. Some of the negatives, because despite some improvements, significant gaps remain in key areas such as life expectancy and education outcomes for Indigenous Australians, underscoring the ongoing challenges and systemic issues that contribute to the disadvantage.
See, systemic, that's the one. That is the problem when it's systemic, because that means you have to reform the whole system. It's
Correct.
not you can't just do a top-down approach. Well, sorry, you can't just do a top-up approach, if you like. It's got to come from grassroots and go and be fixed from the ground up type thing. And that's hard, but that's something that we as white people put in place.
It's the mindset. We've got to change our mindset that we can't say, they do it they do this to themselves. It doesn't matter how much handouts we give them, they never improve. So we've got to stop that mindset. That's not the problem. There's heaps of other issues going on that, like you said, as white people, we're not even addressing things like why do they have issues with alcohol and having that around with young children and abuse that sometimes happens. And we know it's not common, but media seems to highlight that quite often as an issue and things like that. So we've just got to change this mentality.
One thing that we sort of do know, though, is that sort of white man's alcohol does affect certain Indigenous tribes far more than the people that have created it. And that is a real issue, I think, at times. I don't think you can run away from that fact, but you can also, as you know, just blows shit out of way proportion.
Mm.
You know, it's a classic example, again, digressing, but a classic example is this senator in the US that just did a rebuttal for the State of the Union address by Joe Biden. She was crapping on in there regarding her being a survivor, et cetera, of sex trafficking, et cetera, which that may be the case. I don't know her story. All I know is that her story had 4 major elements that were 100% incorrect. And I'm making the assumption she must have known that. One, the year was wrong. The president was wrong. The party was wrong. I mean, like, nearly everything that she was flagging and trying to blame Biden for was totally 100% incorrect. Yeah, the information was bullshit. It was total crap. And the only reason I bring that up is because that is a classic example of gaslighting, such an important topic and issue that you're talking about right now by the media. And I see it all the time. And do you know what? Not always is it the right wing media. I see I don't know, the want of a better word, the left-wing media actually jump on this stuff from a negative connotation before they even start talking about what the good things that are happening that you've been discussing this morning. And it's something that does drive me insane because, like, they'll start the conversation or the interview like, well, I see that the closing the gap is not where you'd like it to be at the moment. What do you think is the issue with that? I'm like, I love the way that they ask those questions. It's like, you don't need to start that way. You could have started easily. You could have said, okay, we realize that there's issues with the closing the gap report and the process at the moment, but we can see that there's improvements happening at the moment. Can you tell us where your key areas are that you're working and how have you been able to improve those? But you never get that sort of interview.
No,
you know,
no. People want controversy. People want negative because that's what sells.
It does. It
problem.
Just does my scone in, Wencee. It really does.
The other 2 negatives highlighted by the report was a slow progress in getting these targets met. So, like I said, of the 19, only 5 have been met. So, very slow progress. And the third one was the lack of equitable access, where there's concerns about the equitable access of Indigenous Australians to essential services such as healthcare, education, and housing. So,
talk amongst yourself just for a second. I need to just tell a couple of people to be a little bit more quiet.
Yes. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yes. So, so there's definitely a gap there between what Indigenous First Nations Australians can get access to compared to what we get. So we are infinitely can access systems and services a lot easier than First Nations, and so that's one big gap that we've got to close, that inequity of access to those services. So so hopefully over time with a bit of luck, if Labor stays in, they will continue closing the gap more and in a quicker fashion.
Yeah, well, it absolutely sounds like it, and it sounds like it's going in the right direction. As usual, links will be in the show notes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Over to you, my friend. That's all for me.
No worries. Be back in a minuto. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the federal court ruling strengthens Indigenous position against fossil fuel projects. So the Gomeroi people have just had a win in the federal court, and it marks a significant victory in emphasising the need to consider climate change impacts regarding fossil fuel projects of native title land. So this is a really, really good thing. The authors of this article is Lily O'Neill, Senior Research Fellow at Melbourne Climate Futures, University of Melbourne, Rebecca Markey Towler, PhD candidate, Melbourne Law School, and the Research Fellow, Melbourne Climate Futures, the University of Melbourne. So pretty esteemed authors, and it's a pretty good ruling. So it reflects the broader trend of Indigenous communities leading climate litigation efforts, highlighting the cases involving Dennis Tipa Kalipa and Pabai Pabai. One of the things I wanted to mention is that sorry, I'm just jumping the gun here slightly, just bear with me. So mandating climate change considerations as part of the public interest test conducted by the National Native Title Tribunal for projects on native title land. So this sets a precedent for that, which, as we know, setting a precedent is a very good thing if you want to win your next case that
exactly.
is regarding this. Traditional owners, including the Gomeroi people, face challenges in preventing fossil fuel projects on their land. But expert testimony, such as the late climate scientist Professor Will Steffen. I know that name, but I'm not sure why I know that name.
Yeah,
but I do
it
know
doesn't
that
sound
name.
familiar.
But he played a crucial role in the highlighting the potential climate impacts of projects like the Narrabee Gas Project. Now, that project is situated near Narrabee, which is in northern New South Wales, and you'll never guess who's behind it. It's Australian oil and gas company Santos Limited.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Why does that not surprise me?
I don't know. And it involves drilling up to 850 gas wells, which is obviously on Aboriginal land, I would imagine. And it faces opposition due to environmental and Indigenous landholder concerns. So this is exactly what this is about. And the regulatory process requires approval from state and federal government bodies. Indigenous groups actively challenge the project's impact on traditional lands. And now Narrabee Gas Project faces setbacks and legal challenges, and ongoing status to that will be updated soon. But that is good news, the fact that this precedent has now been set. So the tribunal's previous reluctance to consider the climate change in the public interest test was challenged by the federal court.
Good.
And this ruling signals a potential shift in Australia's courts as a rule towards greater engagement with climate issues, particularly by the Indigenous communities.
Because we've had quite a number of cases like that about the future of the environment and how it affects people. Like we had those young kids who took it to the Supreme Court. I don't think they won 100% what they wanted, but
I think I know what you're talking about, and they did actually win. They took Susan Lee to court.
That's right, yeah.
Because they said, and I think they were 15 or 16, might have been younger, around that age, I think.
Thereabouts, yeah.
They said that she had a duty of care to protect children. And they won. They won the first time.
So, yeah.
And then she appealed and said, no, they don't have a duty of care to children. Can you believe? Honestly, seriously. Anyway, and then she won that case. On the appeal, which I'm still bamboozled by.
Flabbergasted by that. But they've got no duty care of anyone, as we know. Like they can do whatever they want in government and get away with it.
Well, the other mob in particular, this mob seems to have this is what I'm saying. This mob seems to have a light shined on them far more than the other government. And the reason for that is because they get the right shined on them and the so-called left. Whereas when ScoMo was in there, the right didn't give a shit. And you only ever really got some left-wing politics. So well, left or independent. I'd probably rather say independent, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so so therefore you only had sort of that side, and if the so-called right were going to be talking about ScoMo, it'd be nearly always in pleasantries. It would always be favourable. You know? Whereas that is not the case with this government.
No. Everyone's against them. There's no effective media here that is independent. Even the ABC is against doing a lot of stories against the ALP these days.
I mean, what they've been labelled with, and I totally 100% agree, and that's why I stopped watching Insiders as soon as it went to Canberra. I used to love that show with Barry Cassidy, but then Speezy just made it more and more and more right wing the whole time, and I was just like, it's not independent anymore. I mean, at least Barry Cassidy, when he was there, who created the program, he actually was outwardly sort of Labor orientated, and everyone absolutely knew his pedigree. They knew where he was coming from. There wasn't, you weren't guessing. Anyway, but while the immediate implications are unclear, this decision may prompt a re-evaluation of climate impacts in future project approvals. So we hope that means that they'll start rejecting more and more of these fossil fuel investments, because we need to transition out, not into, or as Spud wants to, put some nuclear power in where the power stations are.
Because who wants a nuclear waste dump in their backyard?
Well, I'm assuming Spud does. I'm assuming he would like his electorate to, because I'm assuming that's the first place he'll ask. But anyway.
Let's talk to the people of his electorate to see. Would you like a nuclear reactor or the waste in your street?
Do you know, it's funny. It's funny you talk about that, because I was just listening the other day, and they were saying that there is a not an unwritten law, but there is a clause or something that says when you produce uranium, it has to come back to where it's produced. So we export quite a bit of uranium, I believe, to Europe, I believe, in particular, et cetera. And when they are finished with their waste, etc., we have a temporary holding area in Australia. And it's been temporary holding for, I believe, over 10 years.
Right. So the waste product does come back, or is it still just not? It does, yeah.
Does. But it's, as I said, it's temporary holding. And a lot of people don't even know that. A lot of people do not even know that. And I didn't. And I was like, really? So,
interesting.
I know, not in a good way. Not in a good way. But anyway, something that is a bit interesting, and sometimes in a good way, is on this day.
On this day.
So on this day in 1947, Mitt Romney, American businessman, politician, was the 70th governor of Massachusetts. And coincidentally, I believe he may be retiring out of the American Senate this year.
Right.
He is what you definitely call a moderate Republican.
One of the better ones, then.
Yeah, he's one you want. He's definitely one you want. So, yeah, that's a bit of a shame. But another one, births on this day was 1946. Liza Minnelli.
Oh, yeah.
1946. So, what does that make it? 1946. Geez, she's got to be old.
54,
78. Is that 78? Yeah, 78. Yeah. So Mitt Romney, so Mitt Romney would be retiring because that would make him 77.
Yeah.
Um,
Not that
so-
age is a barrier in American politics.
no,
Look
not
at
at all.
Biden.
Yeah, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. But if you looked at his his State of the Union address, it was pretty fiery.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got fire in his belly still, hasn't he?
Well, the right wing. We'll talk about this next week. But the right wing have called him Jacked Up Joe.
Are they worried about him?
Well, they reckon that he must have been on some sort of drugs or something to be able to have that much spirit, etc. And I'm just like, you just don't have a clue, do you?
No.
Jesus, you bang on about how he's slow and how he's cognitively impaired and all the rest of it. It's hilarious because I love the way they say that he's cognitively. See, I can't say the word cognitively impaired, and they keep using that word, and like me, they stumble over it many times, and it's not a good word to stumble over when you're trying to prove a point. So, but anyway, a bad time, 1938. On this day was Hitler invaded Austria.
Oh,
yeah, not good. Occupation of Hitler's homeland known as Anschluss, which is German word for annexation. Nice.
No, don't we know that word? Russia.
Yes.
Ukraine.
Well, yeah, but have a look what
Crimea.
bloody Israel's doing to Palestine. I mean, just.
God, we haven't touched that subject on this show, but man, that is a mess. And
yeah, it is a mess.
Yeah, it's complicated.
We may, it is complicated. We may have a look at it, but if we do, we won't just blurt on it. We'll have quite a bit on it, and we'll do proper. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right on this one because that's we need to get our ducks in a row on that one. But that's one of the reasons we've sort of kept away from it a little bit. Just in case you wanted to know, I know this is apropos and not part of On This Day, but I thought I'd just let you know. Payuptrump.com.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, we did. Orange Head is he's going to be up for 466 million pretty soon. It's popping over.
Nice.
He's up to 465,852 at the moment. According to me, he's got 13 days and 5 hours, 51 seconds, and 59 somethings. So,
right.
I think it's 13 days, 5 hours, 50 minutes, and 52 seconds. There you go. To pay up. So there you go. Anyway,
I haven't kept an eye on realestate.com to see if he's selling his stuff yet. So, if I'm in the market for an apartment in New York, going dirt cheap.
Yes, well, I think it's going to be going dirt cheap. No doubt about that at all. But it'll have the Trump brand, it means it should be even lower. But anyway, over to you for On This Day, my friend.
You talked about some births. I'm going to talk a couple of events and deaths. Let me do deaths first.
I knew you were going to go deaths. Just wanted to bring it, just bring the mood down. I could see.
Yeah. I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up a little bit after that. On this day, George Westinghouse died. He was born in 1846, but died in 1914. For those playing at home, Westinghouse, he is the American entrepreneur and engineer who was a pioneer of the electrical industry, who created the Westinghouse company. So fridges and things like that. Westinghouse still exists today.
How long ago was that?
So he was born 1846, died 1914. So his name lives on over 100 years later.
Does indeed. Yes, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Another death on this day, Anne Frank. You spoke about the Hitler and the atrocities there, but Anne Frank, Jewish victim of the Holocaust, gained recognition posthumously after her diary was published. So that was That's when she passed on this day.
What year?
1945. Sorry. Yeah. So she was only 16. She was
I've
born in
been to
1929.
I've been to Anne Frank's house. It's pretty amazing.
Mm.
As you know, there's that fake library right up the top of the house. Have you ever seen the film?
No.
Oh, you never seen the film on Anne
No,
Frank?
never
Oh,
seen it. Nope.
need to put that on top of your list. It's a
Okay.
fantastic, fantastic film. Really, really interesting and scary.
Right.
But yeah,
can
no,
imagine.
yeah. But yeah, so it was just incredible to be able to see how she lived for, I think it was 3 or 4 years or something.
Oh, right.
And just absolutely nuts. Really, really nuts. If I can
Yeah.
find the link to Anne Frank's house, I'll put it in the show notes because
Yeah.
it's worth having a read actually.
Okay.
But anyway, keep going.
The last death I'm going to talk about is Terry Pratchett, English author of fantasy novels. Never read any of his books, but I know he's quite famous. So he passed away in 2015.
Yeah, I don't think he was that old either, was he?
No, he was born in 1948, so that made him, 52, 67 years old, so fairly young.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that old. Yehudi Menuhin passed away in 1999 on this day.
Yeah. And
And
who is...
he is an American Swiss violinist conductor, very famous. Yehudi Menuhin is very famous. And Charlie Parker, American saxophonist, composer, he died in 1955.
Wow, okay.
And some interesting stuff that happened on this day is the Truman Doctrine was proclaimed in America, which is Harry S. Truman defined his foreign relation priorities, which included military economic support to Turkey and Greece to prevent the spread of communism there.
Right.
So, yeah, Harry S. Truman, definitely a Republican. I'm pretty damn sure of that.
Yeah, that I don't know.
I might have to find out, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
Mm.
So that was all 1947. So that's just after World War II. They're probably getting right into Reds under the bed stuff. So
yeah, pretty much. The new war after the World War II.
yeah, absolutely.
I've got a couple of events. 1930, on this day, Mahatma Gandhi begins his 300-kilometre protest march against the British salt tax. The salt tax was a tax that the British implemented in India to control salt trade, and it was designed to enforce Indians to only buy from British entrepreneurs who sold salt, so thereby controlling a major staple that was used for preserving meats and things like that. So yeah, it was a form of controlling the Indians, and Mahatma Gandhi began that 300k protest march on this day to, like he did in most of his protest, very peacefully, and took in hundreds or thousands of people on the march with him. And the tax did get repealed or changed eventually. It took a few years after that event. And Indian independence happened in 1947. So I know the tax disappeared before that. Another eventful another event on this day, 1994, the Church of England ordains the first 33 women priests in its congregation. So this battle had been going on for many years within the church, where the movement for the ordination of women was founded in 1979. And so it took those 15 years or so to get the rest of the congregation to approve women. So there were 32 women priests who got ordained, 33, sorry, and they were ordained in alphabetical order. So Angela Burmers Wilson is officially the first woman to be ordained in the Church of England.
What year was that?
1994.
94. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Look, time is eluding us. So what we'll do is we'll just wrap up with this one, and then we'll go into joke of the week.
Yes.
The last one is Moscow becomes Russia's capital city. So St. Petersburg was the capital city before 1918, and it lost its status to Moscow following the revolution of 1917. Which dismantled the Tsarist autocracy. There is a fantastic, fantastic movie. It's done not by Monty Python, but it's got quite a few Monty Python people in it. And I can't remember for the life of me what it's called, but it was all about Moscow and 1918 and that revolution and et cetera, et cetera.
Was it a comedy?
Yeah, no, there's comedic value in it, definitely, but it's very black.
Yeah.
But it's really historically quite true, and it's well worth having a look at. So
when you remember during the week, we'll put it in the show notes so that
yes, we will. I'll definitely will do that. And without any further ado, I will do this.
God, nothing hurts my soul more than getting a bunch of money from paid sponsorship. Cash for comment. I love it. Speaking of cash, have you tried the new Cash app? Send and receive money from anyone instantly with the Cash app. Oh, God. Say you want to get $10,000 from Valvoline just for mentioning the word Valvoline. Just give them your Cash app username and they can get it to you immediately. No questions asked. Download the Cash app today. Valvoline.
My brother-in-law was addicted to the hokey pokey. It was a rough couple of years, but he turned himself around. Joke of the week.
It most definitely is.
It is.
You're looking pretty happy with your jokes there, Wencee.
Yep. I've got a few. Been meaning to read some of these for ages, and I keep forgetting. It's someone I follow on social media.
I got to get my sad trombone and my badam touche. So give me a second.
Okay.
I've got the badam touche sorted. Now I need my sad trombone. Okay, here we go. Yep, all good.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
What is made of brass and sounds like Tom Jones?
What's made of brass and sounds like Tom Jones?
I think I'm going to get one. You just mentioned it. Trombones. Sounds like Tom Jones and is made of brass. Trombones.
Trombones. Oh, God.
I'm going to get one, aren't I?
Go again. See if you can reprieve yourself.
Okay. My wife's leaving me because she thinks I'm obsessed with astronomy. What planet is she on?
I like that. That was very good. You can do it in threes. Go for it. What you got?
Okay. All right. My mother always used to say, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Lovely woman, terrible surgeon. Over to you.
Good. That's very nice. I've got a bit of a long one here, actually.
Okay. All right. I need to get my concentration cap on.
So an Irishman walks into a bar in New York City and he orders 3 pints of beer. He drinks one in turn and then walks out. And the next night he returns and again orders another 3 pints of beer. And then again the next night, and so on and so forth, and et cetera, et cetera. The bartender offers to serve them consecutively so they won't go flat. But the Irishman explains, I'd rather see them all lined up before me. I can't do an Irish accent, unfortunately. I left 2 brothers behind in Ireland, and since we used to meet at the pub every night and have a pint together, I feel closer to them when I come and drink my pint, and there too. Makes sense. Makes sense. This goes on for a year, and then one night, the Irishman fails to come in, and the regulars are concerned and then saddened when he returns a few nights later, and he only orders 2 pints of beer. When the bartender serves him, he says, "I see you didn't order a beer for one of your brothers. My condolences on your loss." "Oh, no, my brothers are still alive," the Irishman says. "I just didn't order my own beer because my wife made me give up drinking."
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
I know. I like that one. I thought that was good. I thought that was very good. I thought it was very good.
Do you have another one?
Oh, very quick one. Very quick one. The past, present, and the future walk into a bar. It was tense. Past, present.
Oh dear.
All right, you can have the last one. Go for it. Go for it.
All right. This one, I think you might need to concentrate a little bit. It's a short one though.
Okay.
What did Spartacus say when the lion ate his wife?
I don't know. What did
Nothing.
Spartacus say when the lion
Nothing.
ate his wife?
He was gladiator.
Very good. Very good.
Yes,
Very
I
good
like that
indeed.
one.
Always nice to finish the show with some good jokes. No, that was fun. That was
Yes.
good. Very nice. Very nice indeed. So, I think that's the show for the night, my friend.
Yes, it is.
Bit of a big one. That show seems to be going a bit longer than normal nowadays, even when I edit.
I know.
It's all
We're
the
having fun.
digression.
That's the main thing.
Oh, that's it. And we're learning something, so it's all good. And yeah, heaps to talk about, so that's all good. Thank you very much. Oh, yes, I have a show coming up at the Clock Tower Centre. I think Wencee's already put it on the show notes in the show, I believe.
For last week's show, yes, I have.
Yes.
But do you want to
last week's
repeat
show.
again what dates and time?
Yep. Yes, I can do that, definitely. The dates are the 23rd and the 24th of March. Just want to double check that. Yes, 23rd and 24th of March. Tickets still left. Not a problem there. At the Clock Tower Centre, the show's called Now. It's by a community theatre group called the Flemington Theatre Company. And we've been around for a while. We've done quite a few shows now. And they tend to, the last few years, tend to have a few more kids in it. And because they're just trying to make it a little bit more sort of kid-friendly and, have kids interested in coming. So if you are listening to this and you are anywhere near Moonee Ponds on the 23rd or 24th, get yourself down there. It only goes for an hour. It should be a bit of fun. The alcohol's cheap there. And, it should be a good show. Look forward to it. So there you go.
A few laughs, a few interesting topics, and yeah, go watch it.
Yes. Well, as you have mentioned, it's all about love, loss, vegans, and
lawyers, wasn't it?
And lawyers as well. Yeah. There's lots of things going on, but it should be a bit of fun. So until next week,
which won't be on a Tuesday. It'll be another day.
Not. Yes, it will, and I will have to work that out.
Yes. It is my oldest 18th birthday next Tuesday, hence why I cannot make it that night.
Yes, I absolutely understand that. I think there's a good chance we might be able to do it on the Thursday.
We'll work it out.
I've got practice on Wednesday. So anyway, if you've been listening to this, you probably didn't listen to the last bit because I'll probably cut it. So you didn't hear anything what we just said then. So that's fine. Not a problem.
Watch it on YouTube, then you will hear it.
Absolutely. But Wencee will give his famous goodbye as we have asked him to. So I will say goodbye. Thank you, listener, and see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.